Hello, it's Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. So today we got 3 replays to show you in the brand new Tier 10 Chinese tank destroyer, the 114 SP2. This is a Season Pass reward. So if you purchase the basic Season Pass for the 2000 gold, which came out yesterday, you'll be able to earn this tank once you get to level 100. So if you've got the 2000 gold, it's always worthwhile picking up the Season Pass because you basically get that back by the end of it. So it's always worth picking up. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to, before we get into the replays, quickly go over the tank and explain it. And then I'll get into the replays and I'll explain it and demonstrate what I mean during the replays. So this tank destroyer, what is it? Let's just summarise, it is a sluggish glass cannon tank destroyer. That's the best way I can summarise it. It basically has 650 alpha gun. That's probably the highlight of the tank. It's got a 10.6 second or so reload for 650 alpha. So the DPM's okay. It's not amazing compared to some of the other tank destroyers, but it is okay. You've got APCR on the premium rounds for 329 penetration, and on the standard AP rounds you've got 273 penetration. So you've got pretty decent pen and you're not going to struggle to pen any of your tanks. You've got 1050 shell velocity on the AP rounds, but then you've got 1250 shell velocity in the APCR rounds. So a lot of people are going to fire the full premium in this tank for that shell velocity basically. Now the tank, what do I think of this tank? It basically is quite big, it's quite slow, it has absolutely no armour whatsoever. You're an Avery's dream, they can pen your turret, just no problem whatsoever. You are not going to bounce shots in this tank unless you get very fortunate. It's just basically a walking hit point. So when you get spotted, you can be in danger. So it's quite slow as well. I think, like I say, the camo itself, the camo is pretty decent. I think I got the concealment down to about 262 on this tank, so you can be pretty stealthy. But what do I think of the tank? I kind of feel it's a bit sort of average, a bit meh, really, because although the gun is quite nice, it's very slow, so it can be hard to get around the map. And like I say, you can't bounce any shots whatsoever in the tank. But it's not terrible, you know. Would this tank be worth the full gold value? Probably not, but is it worth 2000 gold? Yeah, it's worth 2000 gold, and you can have fun in the tank. But like I say, I don't think it's an amazing tank. But having said that, I probably prefer them to bring tanks out like this, not completely overpowered like the Turan, and then if necessary you can buff it, rather than bring out a tank into the game which is ridiculously overpowered, especially a season pass, and then it's more difficult to nerf a tank than it is to buff a tank. So like I say, you know, it is what it is. But I've got 3 replays to show, and I'll just go right, rather than me keep rambling on to you, I can just sort of explain more as the video progresses. Okay, so here we are for replay number 1 then, on Dragon's Ridge. So, there's no fun police in this particular game, which is always nice. And we are going to go to the top of the ridge and pretty much, you know, camp there and play a sort of tank destroyer role, to be honest with you. Because like I say, you're not quick, you can't move to aggressive positions fast. You do need to play a somewhat passive game, this tank, because you do have no hit points. So you want to try and get that damage unspotted if at all you know, possible. For Chinese tank destroyer, it actually has 7 degrees of gun depression, which is actually pretty decent for a sort of like Chinese sort of tank. But you know, 7 degrees is okay, but it can be a little bit awkward in some situations. But it's not, you know, it's not as bad as some of the Soviet, you know, tank destroyers, etc. 7 degrees is sort of okay. So we get up a nice little pen there. I think we get a nice high roll into that Death Star, which is crossing. And we're just using this position just to see if we can get any shots. Now, I probably missed out on a few cross shots there on the left, but you know, obviously I got distracted by shooting that Death Star. We get a nice shot there into the E4. We actually set, well, I don't think it gets set on fire there by I think it's someone else might have set him on fire. Oh no, we did set him on fire. We picked up some more damage there as well. Get a good start to the game this, and we like to say it can be a tank you do have to be quite patient for, because which isn't probably well suited to myself, because I do like to play quite aggressive. But this tank is not really the best at that, because like I say, you want to play a more traditional tank destroyer role with this tank. The fact that it has no armour whatsoever, and it isn't that quick. But we get a nice couple of shots in, and it looks like this enemy tank destroyer is pushing up quite quickly. We tried to snap one in, and unfortunately we wasn't able to get that shot in. The accuracy on this tank isn't actually too bad. You know, I've got it down to, with all my current setup, down to 0.26. So you're going to hit most shots. The aim time's not fantastic, but you know, you can make do because the fact that you do have some decent accuracy there. We are detected here, so we're being a little bit careful because obviously some big heavy tank destroyers at the back, and we don't want to lose all our hit points, but we also want to try and get that damage in where we can. Like I say, it's not thrilling gameplay at the moment because I am just sort of playing very, very passive, but that is what you really need to do right now. Now we're going to try and get another shot in. We do get one in there, but we are detected, and then I get the most fortunate ricochet, which does not happen in these tanks. I blocked 1,150. I'm guessing it's a Tyran or something like that, and that is because we obviously had a really extreme angle. So if you get an extreme angle like that, you can obviously ricochet shots, but that does not happen very often. So we got away with one there. Now we're leaning over to trying to look for some more shots. You know, we are starting to win this game, but it's very, very even at the moment, and we just don't want to throw our tank away by doing something silly. Looks like I may have a potential shot on the cross there, but I can't quite get over, so I'm just trying to lean over. Like I say, the tank's concealment is good. You know, they're the two factors which, you know, the two standout factors of this tank. You know, the gun, the 650 Alpha, which is kind of quite niche for a tier 10 tank destroyer, especially these days with all those massive high alpha guns, and the concealment. The concealment's really decent. So we're getting some nice shots here into the IS-7. Managed to juke a shot as well. Lost our spot, and we're hoping to try and get another shot into him if possible. But he has sort of moved behind a rock. So we're just trying to get an angle. You know, I also say I'm just trying to work around the 7 degrees of gun depression here. Thankfully, we actually missed that shot there. Awkward situation now because I am spotted. IS-7's there. He thankfully misses. I'm just trying again. I want to get some shots into that IS-7 if possible, but he needs to pull forward a little bit. But he is under pressure by a friendly tank, so I'm hoping he's going to try and make a mistake. He does pull up, makes a little bit of a mistake, and I go, yeah, I've got no problem penning him with this APCR, you know, with that 329 pen. You know, you're going to be able to go through pretty much, you know, all targets really you're going to be able to pen. And we are able to finish off the IS-7 there, putting us into just over 4,000 damage, 4,600 damage, and getting our first kill there. And now there's only 8 tanks remaining. I'm starting to think about I probably need to start moving forward now as our tanks are kind of progressing forward. You know, this is probably position is kind of outliving itself, but there is this enemy type 5 here, and it looks like it's going to pull back, so I'm going to see if I can finish this type 5 off before we move on. And we're able to pick up that kill there, putting us onto 5,000 damage, but only 6 tanks remaining. I'm going to try and get in. Now you can climb down here. It looks quite steep, but you can get down there pretty much every time without taking full damage there. So if you didn't know that, you do now, and it's a quick way of trying to get across. Now, I don't think I actually mentioned the top speed of this tank, but it's basically got a 45 kilometers top speed. But if you're going over difficult terrain and stuff like that, you're going to struggle to meet that top speed. You know, if you're completely flat, yeah, maybe, but it does feel sluggish. This tank does feel very sluggish. If I was going to give any buffs to this tank, I would either go, you buff the DPM to try and like balance out all the negatives of the tank, or you buff the movement. I think either or will be a good buff. But like I say, it's better to bring out a tank which you can buff and improve than bring out a tank which is really overpowered straight, you know, especially in a season pass where everyone's going to be able to earn it. So I don't think it's a terrible thing that the tank's not ridiculously powerful on release. But we're going to try and get the finishing kill here. We've got 6,000 damage. We've had a fairly decent-ish game. Looking for the kill shot there. That was just poorly aimed. I was trying to get the kill in before someone finished it off, but I could have aimed that better. This time I am going to aim for the cupola because he's sort of at an awkward angle. We're not going to struggle to pen that. We do go through, picking up our third kill, bringing us into replay number 1 with 2 more replays to come on. So I will stop rambling again and move on to the next replay. Okay then, so replay number 2, we are on Pilsen. Now this map is not really the best for this tank, you know, especially this side. You've got no gun, well, you don't really have enough gun depression to play these sort of ridges, and it's very, very awkward. And I kind of decided at the very start of this game that I was going to do something very, very aggressive, which I'm going to pre-warn you won't work a lot of the time. And I've decided that I'm going to try and push inside the building, or I don't know what you can call it, like the middle sort of area, and try and get myself into the corner, which is very, very risky. But that's what I decided I'm going to do, because I knew this map wasn't ideal for this tank. And honestly, sometimes I find it a bit boring being a little bit campy. So we tried to get a shot there into that enemy heavy tank, which did get spotted. But now we're going to move in. Unfortunately, because we shot that first shot, we did actually miss an opportunity to shoot the E100. Now, I don't want to get detected until I get right into this corner, because otherwise, you know, I can get shot. There's a light tank, unfortunately, to my right, which is going to spot me. And I do get detected, but I want to try and get right into this corner, tuck myself in, because then I can shoot anything like this E100. I might be able to get rear shots into them. I do get a nice shot in straight through the door into their tank, and that's a nice thing about having the APCR rather than the heat is your premium. If I had heat, I wouldn't have been able to get through that door and penetrate the target, but obviously with the APCR I can easily go through the door and into the target. So now we're tucked into this position. It gives me an opportunity. It forces the enemy team into an awkward situation with me being here. If the enemy team pokes on me now, I should be able to get shots if they poke around on the right hand side. But you can also shoot through this little wall on the right here, which I was trying to look through and get a shot in. Unfortunately, enemy 58 heavy was kind of aware of that fact, and he shot me. And then I bounced my shot by shooting in the one place of the turret which I was going to bounce. So not a great start. I've just lost 700 odd hit points, and we didn't get a penning shot in return. And yeah, so I've had better starts of the game, but at least I am in this position here where I can try and make work. Like I say, if tanks push on me, they're going to get shot from just around my left for the door when they overpoke, and if they really overpoke, I'm going to get shots in. But like I say, it is very, very risky. But we're going to try and use this little window again to try and get shots in now they're a little bit distracted. This 58 is not paying attention. We do manage to return fire, picking up some damage and actually picking up some assistance. And with these 3 tanks here on the right, I'm kind of worried that they're going to get fed up when we keep shooting them in the side and try and overextend on me. But that's not happening so far. So I'm going to look to see if I can get a nice shot into this enemy Murat here. And we do, picking up another damage, putting this on to just shy of 2,000 damage. And yeah, you can see I'm using a small mini-map because I kind of want to know exactly what the enemy team around me are doing. I think it's quite important. 58, we get a nice shot into 58, putting that 58 in the one shot, which is good because if the 58 tries to come in, I'm going to be able to finish him off. He does come in, he bounces his shot, thankfully. Unfortunately, I wasn't ready to reload, but the 58's got a 7-second interclip there, and he's actually poked back out, and he wasn't ready to fire, and I'm able to pick up my first kill of the game, putting us into 2,500 damage. And this position's actually worked out quite well for us right now. We can't get a shot on that tank on the right, which I was hoping, because the train's in the way. But it's another 58 heavy, and this time we aim our shot properly and shoot the sort of turret cheeks rather than the gun mantlet. And we do pen, getting 3,000 damage and 1,000 assistance. Looking to try and squeeze in a shot into that Murat if possible. I'd like to finish off the Murat, very dangerous tank. Looks like the Murat has dumped his clip. And I'm just seeing if we can get any shots in. But like I say, where obviously, you know, when I poke here, if the tank teams are smart, they can shoot through that little gap. But obviously you've got a smaller target to shoot there. But we managed to get a nice shot into light tank, putting us under 4,000 damage, 1,300 assistance. And there's only 7 tanks remaining. Trying to get a shot into top turret, maybe trying to hit the cupola of that heavy tank. Wasn't possible. But not to worry. And this is where like the 10-second reload is quite nice because you are in the fight more often, and you have got sort of slower, you know, firing tank destroy if you like. But I do think it could be a little bit better than it is. But you know, for the reasons of the fact, like say the limitations of the tank with the slow mobility and the you know, the zero armor, it could do being a little bit better. But it's still usable. It's not bad, and I have had okay games in the tank. Looking to try and get a shot here into 58 again. He's not paying attention to us. We get a nice shot into lower plate, putting us onto 4,500 damage. Still 7 tanks remaining, but this game has got a little bit closer. It's now 7 versus 8. And, well, it was 7 versus 8. But, you know, this game's not won. Yeah, but it's what I'm trying to say. We get a lovely shot there into that enemy tank on the right. We set them on fire, which boosts our damage, putting us onto 6,000 damage now. With, I think, 6 tanks remaining. At this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I could go on to have a decent game here on a map which traditionally wouldn't be that great for me. You know, the other spawn would have been a lot better because you can, you know, the enemy team has to come onto you. Trying to get a shot into light tank, unfortunately it just went over the top of him and I missed out on a shot of damage there. There's only 4 tanks remaining, but we only, you know, we're down to 6 ourselves, but now it's down to 3. Now at this point, this is my problem. I want to try and cross to get damage into the rest of the tanks, but one of the tanks is a Sturv, so I'm concerned he's going to spot me, and the other tank is an Avery. Now the Avery is easily going to be able to one-shot us here. You know, the armor isn't good on this, and he can pen us probably with the, you know, the standard rounds, and yeah, it's not ideal. So we are trying to lose our spot, but you know, we don't want to throw this game away because it is starting to, you know, it's 5 versus 3. Avery one-shot something, you know, this game could turn. But I am trying to make my move across now to try and get damage. I'm worried I've probably done it a little bit too late, so I might miss out on some damage. I was looking to try and get a shot into the Avery there because I've got a slim shot into his turret, but I think he's actually going to get finished out before I can actually get a shot in. The Sturv gets detected, and I think my hesitation may have lost me a bit of damage because I'm quite slow and I'm probably realistically not going to get there to get the shot in now. Look at the artillery's got slapped, and yeah, it's probably going to be my end to my game. But I still didn't have a bad game considering the circumstances on the map. We got 6,000 damage, we got 1 kill, I think we got about 1,500 assistance, and that is the end of replay number 2 on Pilsen, with one more map to come, which is more well suited to this tank destroyer. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the final replay of the video. Okay, so here we are for the final replay then on Westfield, which is a much better map for this tank, and we've got the preferred side, I would like to say, because we can use the sort of middle ridge, and if anything crosses and they're able to get spotted, we can get some shots in. Now, we have 1 light tank apiece. Unfortunately, our light tank is kind of going to the north of the map, which for me, I would say it's better for your light tanks from this spawn to go to the middle and spot the cross early, because you want to catch those tanks crossing. And when I say cross, I mean the cross towards the hill on the left. If you spot those tanks early in their right situation, and that will allow your tank destroyers or, you know, tanks in the sort of middle sort of centre of the map to farm them crossing, and you know, if you catch them in the right time, especially if it's a slow tank, they're probably never even going to make the cross. So we're going to try and get into that position. Unfortunately, we may have to try and spot ourselves, but I've got to be a little bit careful because if I get detected, I'm very slow, and I might get taken out very quickly. So I've got no hit points, and I'm a pretty big tank as well, so you're pretty easy to hit. So I'm not going to go too far because that light tank is on the top right hand side. You see there, enemy light tank. I don't want to get detected by that in a bad situation. We may have slim shots at this enemy gorilla. We're looking to try and get a shot in here if possible. Aim one through, unfortunately just manages to evade that, but we were looking to see if we can try and get you know, another shot into him if he crosses. Like I say, I don't have a lot of vision here, which is a bit of a problem. Then the Earthshaker gets spotted, and we may be able to squeeze in and shot him. Wait till he reverses. We get a lovely shot in and actually damages his engine, I think. And he gets stuck in place and taken out by our friendly 58 heavy behind us. But I'm trying to pull back now because I'm a little bit concerned about the enemy light tank. Like I say, if I get spotted in the open, I'm going to get shot by the grill and any other tank destroyers which may have a shot. Get a lovely shot into the enemy machine though, putting the machine onto a one-shot. I really want our friendly team to start to move up and take out this machine, and then we can sort of progress on from there, because at the moment it looks like we're losing the other side of the map, but an enemy waffle gets spotted, and I wish I had maybe a HG loaded here. I might be able to get a pen in the side of the waffle's turret, but we do get one shot in, putting us in 2,000 damage. Looking to see, hopefully we get a second shot in, but that doesn't happen, and I get spotted by the light tanks. I go crest too high on that ridge, and now I'll get slapped by the griller. I'm just hoping I don't get taken out by this waffle E100 at this point. Trying to pull back. Yeah, unfortunately our 58 is kind of where we were. No fault of his, just how it is. But we were able to evade that, and you know, we get shot by the grill, but at least we still have our tank in the game, and you know, we didn't lose too many hit points. Could have been worse. You know, if we get spotted by that waffle, if that waffle gets shots into us, it'll take us out very, very quickly. But we are starting to lose this game, and at this point of the game, it looks like we're not going to make any progression on the sort of where I'm looking right now. It's mainly our tank destroyers there, and I'm thinking I need to kind of make a decision. I can't really push further forward because that light tank's going to spot me the way he's playing. I'm just going to see if I can help out the other side and leave that side for now, because I can't see us winning it. You know, and at the moment I'm not impacting the game, and I want to try and impact the game. So I'm going to try and come back up this ridge here, and then I should be able to get cross shots, and you see this tank where it is there. I should be able to get shots into that, and anything of the enemy team who actually caresses the ridge too far, I'll be able to get shot. But obviously in the flip side, I'm in a more dangerous position. You know, the enemy front police can hit us here. If we get detected, we're going to have to be very, very careful. But that's at least my plan. If we start to lose the other side, where I was initially looking, I have to try and fall back from this position again where I am right now, because they'll be able to shoot me in the rear if they win that side. But right now that hasn't happened, so we're going to pull forward and see if we can get any more shots. Had an okay start to the game, got 2,000 damage, but we have lost a chunk of our hit points from the gorilla. Enemy pattern crosses, and we get a nice shot in, and he gets double tapped by our friendly Chinese tank destroyer with us, and he then gets taken out. So that's a nice important shot there. But we can start to lose this game, and you can see it's now 8 versus 11, and it looks like we're starting to lose the other side of the map. And I'm thinking, well, I can't stay here anymore, because if we lose that side, I'm going to die in this position. So I'm just going to have to fall back. So I'm trying to lose my spot before I move. As I start to make my approach out of there, an enemy tank destroyer gets detected, and it is a enemy Tyran, I believe. But then an enemy light tank also gets spotted, but thankfully the light tank gets taken out. But like I say, I want to try and move, because that machine's there on the left. I can't. If I stay where I was, I'm going to die. So I'm going to try and move back and get into the corner map. So there is the enemy Tyran, which got spotted earlier. I am going to chance a shot here. We do get a shot in. Thankfully, we didn't get spotted in return. Was a little bit risky, but it's an enemy Tyran. You know, I want to punish a Tyran if I can, because that's such a dangerous tank on Westfield. You know, it's got fantastic camo, and it's just broken, isn't it? Really, you know, going to slap you for 1,000 damage. You know, that's just crazy. But we're getting kind of pulled back, and I'm going to have to try and get into the corner of the map. Thankfully, there's, you know, I've got the camo, I've got the concealment, and more importantly, the enemy light tank has been taken out. That is very important information, because that light tank would have been a real pest if it was still alive. Enemy tank destroyer gets spotted here. We're going to try and get a shot in. I'm trying to pull back into the corner. I want to be in a position where I can cover each side, basically. So if one side gets spotted, I can get shots into it. Okay, so we managed to get that kill there on the Italian tank destroyer, and then straight away on the right hand side, another tank gets spotted, and we're just looking to see if we can get a blind shot in, and we do. We managed to blind that shot in. A really, really nice shot, picking up our second kill, and now we're looking for another shot onto the waffle. Waffle gets unspotted, and then 2 shots in a row, 2 kills, 2 blind shots, putting us onto 3 kills and 5,000 damage, bringing this back game to sort of an even sort of Stevens games right now. But we are pincered in sort of one corner, but I've got to be very, very careful, because there's still that enemy Tyran, who was, I think, you know, although he's like a one-shot, still in the game. It's going to be very, very difficult for us to spot. So yeah, I'm kind of waiting. You know, I still have a couple of tanks on the right-hand side, which are keeping somewhat vision on the right area. Knocking a few trees down. Got to be careful I don't get blindfolded through the trees, but also want to try and add myself a a little bit more concealment if I can possibly do so. But I'm just in a position where I can cover on the right hand side and the left hand side. So the left hand side gets detected. We've got a difficult shot here. This tank destroyer, unfortunately, I think it actually hits his gun at the front, but wasn't able to pen that shot. But then a tank on the right gets spotted, and we're looking to see if we can get a finishing kill in this enemy tank destroyer. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to. But yeah, it's bang on sort of 5 versus 5 here. So it's a very, very close game. Like I say, the important thing is that enemy light tank is destroyed, because that would have made our life very difficult if that light tank was alive. Enemy 58 heavy takes out that TD in the right hand side, and I'm starting to consider moving now from this position and see if we can try and work a shot in, because we've got the enemy gorilla and we know where he was last known, but I imagine he's moved further forward now. We've got the enemy Terran, which was sort of spotted on the top of this ridge on the right hand side, which is going to be very difficult for me to spot. And then we got the enemy Lover heavy tank, and obviously the Fun Police at the end as well. So we do still have an artillery, a Fun Police as well, so we can spot some targets and give them something to shoot at. Lover gets spotted, we get a nice shot there in through his track wheel, and then the RT splashes in, putting him on 2 or 1 shot to us. I was looking to try and get a shot in, but I don't want to get caught in this open. Enemy Terran takes out our friendly Earthshaker, and you can see the Terran is a 1 shot. I'm going to try and get in a position to see if we can get a shot in the Terran. I know the Terran's, if he's moving or unless he fires, I'm going to find it incredibly difficult to outspot that target. I have good concealment, but the Terran has even better. So it is a little bit awkward, and I don't want to make a mistake, because again, there's enemy artillery that can pen me no problems with the HE, so I've got to be careful of the enemy artillery. I don't want to get caught out in the open. Terran does get shot by our friendly artillery as he gets detected. I'm really hoping this Terran gets taken out. That would make our life a lot more easier, because we can outspot the Grilla, and we can outspot the Lover, and also we can outspot the artillery. So it's really the Terran which is the biggest threat to us, as well as the fact if he gets really lucky, this tank gets set on fire a lot as well. So if I get penned by the Terran, then there's going to be a good chance he could potentially set us on fire. I'm just looking to see if we can find a way to get a shot into that Lover if he gets detected. I'm guessing he can't have gone too far from that location, because it's not the quickest of tanks, so I'm thinking he's probably still sat underneath that train track there, but just not detected. So I'm just waiting to see if he's going to make a mistake. I don't want to throw this game away, because it's right in the balance. We've still got 5 minutes on the clock. We're having a decent game. We've got 5,500 damage with 3 kills and a tiny bit of track assistance off the Lover at the end. Terran does get spotted. We're looking to see if we can find a way to get a shot into this Terran there, because our friendly 58 heavy is moving up now on the sort of north of the position, which is clearing that side, and he does a good job and takes out the Terran. Now that's going to make our life a lot easier now. Now we should be able to move in and find a way to kill this Lover, because we can eat a shot off of the Grilla if we need to. And also we've got a bit higher chance of outspotting that Gorilla, because the concealment on the Gorilla is not amazing really for a tank destroyer, where also the camo on this is pretty decent. So we decided we're going to go round and get a shot into this Lover. Now I suspect the Gorilla is still on the other side of the map, so the problem is if I get spotted by this Lover, the grill could get a shot into us. So I want to try and hug the sort of buildings on the right while I make my advance, but I'm hoping I might be able to use some bushes and get a shot in and maybe finish off this Lover without getting detected. So we're sort of slowly peeking through. We'll manage to find a way to get a shot in. Thankfully we don't get detected. We finish off the tank, leaving us into a 4 versus 2 with the enemy grill and the enemy artillery. And I'm going to make my play now to move around to kill this enemy artillery, aka the Fun Police. Now probably thinking about it here, I should actually swap to the HE. I mean, the only problem with the HE is it has very, very terrible shell velocity, so that's something you have to adjust to. But I could have got a lot more damage, really, I guess, because I can pen the Gorilla with the HE, I can pen the artillery with the HE, so maybe I should have swapped to that now, but I haven't. I've kept my APCR. Obviously, that's got the better shell velocity, so if I want to get a quick shot in, then it's going to be easier. So we're trying to look for this R2. I'm guessing he's probably playing roughly near the church in the sort of bottom of the map. And then we grill gets spotted. I suspect he's going to get taken out before we get an opportunity to kill that grill. So we're going to try and find this enemy artillery, see if we can get a bit more damage. We do spot the artillery. We're going to be able to get a nice shot in here, putting us over to 6,000 damage. He also gets slapped by another tank. So we're hoping maybe we can get the finishing touch on this enemy front police, but it gets taken out by our 58 heavy, so we're not going to get an opportunity. But we do pick up a bit more assistance there, putting us onto 1,200 assistance. With the one tank, the enemy grill remaining, and we're going to try and move in, but it gets shut down again by a 58 heavy. He did have a decent game there, did some good job at the end, and that is the end for the video. So we finish off with 4,000 damage, sort of 6,500, 6,500 damage, 4 kills, 1,200 assistance, and yeah, that is all. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight. Hadouken!